following presentation of our Island Farm Donkey Sanctuary at Brightwell-cum-Sotwell was given by Chair of Trustees Judy Gibbons on the evening of the 9th of April 2015. After the illustrated talk, we see Judy answering questions from the audience.
We have a number of volunteer groups, which I'll talk to you about as I go through the slides. So this is a little summary of the animals that we have down at the sanctuary. We've got 128 donkeys. In addition to those, we also have about 30 donkeys who are living with foster carers. That is, they're living with people who have taken the donkeys on to live in their own homes, not literally their own homes, in their own paddocks and so forth. Every one of them is visited every year and photographed to make sure that the donkeys are continually being cared for. Sometimes we have to bring them back. If people have had donkeys of ours, say, for 8 or 9 years, and then suddenly themselves don't feel too well, or their health's not good, then you've got to tactfully say to people, well, perhaps they'd be better back at the sanctuary. We've also got 2 sheep, Buttercup and Daisy. We have a goose and a gander, and I have to tell you that I saw a lovely big egg the goose has laid. So if we have goslings, we'll be thrilled to bits, but I'm not sure we will. We've 4 goats and lots of chickens running about with their babies at the moment. And we have Percy, the pot-bellied pig. Now, I picked out Snowy, who is this goat here, who's an Angora goat. And she came to us about 2 or 3 years ago now. And when she came to us, she was so ill and emaciated that she couldn't stand up. Our staff were marvellous, and so were the volunteers. They fed her every 4 hours, all through the night and, as well, for about a month before she came out of the woods. Now she's grown a lovely, we didn't know she was Angora at all. She's very happy. I talked before about the kind of housing that we had for the donkeys, and that's how it was. And the donkeys have chewed. You can see that's in the form of a heart there. A rather artistic donkey, I think, chewed that, but never mind. And they were in, you see, donkeys have to be in off the fields, as you know most farm animals do in the winter, because you never have any paddocks left for the spring and summer. They're all wanting to go out, I think, now. They had to live in these stables, which were quite large, so you'd have about 4 or 5 in one stable. But of course now, just look, there's 2 runs like this of 140 feet, made of galvanised steel, and they've got this lovely housing here that they uncover, which they can go into, in inclement weather, and it's all with lots of straw, so it's nice and warm in there for them. And they've also got up to 140 feet to walk about when they can't go into the paddocks. The other thing is that they're much more accessible to the public. Now, our volunteers run tabletop sales, we have garden stalls, they make, knit and mend. We have one lady who, if you give her a duvet and a ball of wool, one weekend, next weekend she'll come back with oven gloves, aprons, tabards, all sorts of things she will make of it. And she will have knitted donkeys or some other little animal to sell in the shop. So some people fundraise at home by having a coffee morning, and we also attend events outside. I mean, for example, the weekend before last, we had the Palm Sunday processions, and so we had about 16 donkeys actually going out to Palm Sunday processions all over Oxfordshire. We're open every single day of the year, but just don't come on Christmas Day, okay? We start at 11, you come at 11 o'clock until 4 o'clock in the afternoon. At 4 o'clock, the donkeys have to be fed, and equally at the beginning of the day, the donkeys are fed at 8 o'clock in the morning, or from 8, but then they have to have their stables cleared, so it's about 11 o'clock before we're ready for the public to come in. At the weekends and school holidays, we have a tea room. I've got a picture here, I'll show you later. We have volunteers who come in and run the tea room during weekends and school holidays. That means you can come in, have a cup of tea, piece of cake, there's a video going on, there's a little shop there as well, so that's rather nice. And some of our volunteers also work in the office. We discovered that we are the top TripAdvisor attraction out of 11 attractions in Wallingford. It's very, very open to people saying exactly what they think. We are, of course, looking for volunteers. More people are coming to see us, which is brilliant. But because of that, where our staff who will be working around the yard could answer questions before, if there are just a few people coming, now they find there's so many people, they need some help. So we're looking for people to come and meet and greet our visitors, take them through to the yard and just walk around with them and talk about the sanctuary. We also do need more help in our shop and tea room, and we have a hospital project at the moment which is up and running, and that is for an equine hospital. We've only got 2 stalls and what they call a rubber room, which I'll talk to you a bit later because I've got a picture there for you to have a look at. But that would be an immense help, and it would update. Here it is, my goodness. So there we are. Now this is the equine hospital unit that we want to build. I think we've got enough now to start on the groundwork, and we need to do that this summer so that we actually get the building up. And then, of course, we have to get the inside equipped, which is going to cost a lot of money, as you can well imagine. But you've got 2 stables here, and then in the middle, that larger room in the middle, will have rubber up to about 4 feet, I'm told, around the walls and on the floor. Easy to clean, much more hygienic, and also soft for the donkeys to fall under anaesthetic. And you can see there's a drain hole in the floor. And then this part here is for the vet. Of course, you have to provide facilities and showers and safekeeping for medicines and so forth. So all that is absolutely necessary. At the moment, we're doing geldings, and I mean, we're just having to do it in situations which, although we've done it for years, we could have much better, and we should do, which I'm sure you'll understand. So that's what we want to do. Also, it will reduce enormously some vet's bills. A couple of years ago, we had a donkey, Diana, who had to have a hysterectomy. Well, the cost to us was about £3,000, if not a bit more. And we could have reduced that cost considerably if only we'd had this facility. So, you know, it's going to be a huge thing for us to have our own very small hospital, but it will be tremendous when we've got it. And so much nicer for the donkeys, which is what we're all about, is providing good care for them. Now there's John, and there's Polly-Ann. Have any of you heard of Polly-Ann? Yeah. Yes, you have. Yes, Polly-Ann goes to the Royal Opera House every 2 years, and she takes part in Carmen. And she's very intelligent, and she knows exactly what to do. And she goes in to the Royal Opera House, and she goes through the door, and she knows she has to turn left, get into the lift. She's quite happy about that. And they have a room for her with sort of straw and hay and so forth. And then when it's her turn, John takes her out. He has to grow a beard and put a cap on and a piece of string around his waist. And you know, she has panniers because of Spanish theme, as you know, to Carmen. And then she has to walk round the stage a certain way. Now, there was one year, I'm told, that she was told, oh, well, actually, the director said, no, we want her to come in the other way. So John said, okay, then. So he took her round, and she wouldn't do it. She said, no, this just don't do this. what I do, I know what I do. I go round the other way. You can just see it, can't you? But she is very clever. And there's a book about Polly-Ann, because Polly-Ann is one of the very serious rescue. She used to bite you, and she'd stamp on you, and she'd butt you. She was very, very damaged when John took her back from a sale. And with a lot of love and attention and care and so forth, she now is appearing at the Royal Opera House. Isn't that a marvellous story? Mm-hmm. She's actually got we've actually got a book that's been written of the story of John starting the sanctuary and the influence that Polly-Ann had on him during her life at the sanctuary. And just at the bottom here is Linda, the stable manager. And there am I, not quite knowing what to do. I thought I'd better do something like a peer. So there you are. All our donkeys have a friend. Donkeys are herd animals, and they long for their own kind. And each one of our donkeys at Island Farm does have a friend. And there's very, very close bonds between the friends. You will see them in the yard doing this, grooming each other. They walk about together, they stand together. Sometimes they butt each other, of course, as we often do with our own friends, don't we? So when they have to go to the vets, we always send two of them, because it's so stressful for them to be separated that it's no good for the donkey at the vet's trying to get better and having treatment, expensive treatment, to stay overnight. So we have to pay for livery for the accompanying donkey friend to go with us. So two always go. So Diane had to take her friend, and they're all the same. And if you are in the yard sometimes and one is braying like mad, I say to you, what is the matter with that donkey? And he'll say, oh, I've just taken her away from her friend because I need to have a look at her feet or something. And the very fact that he separated her from a paddock, the friends in the paddock, he said, you know, I should have brought the two in, but I didn't. And I've mentioned some events. You can see the sorts of things that we do. We've taken part in Midsummer Murders. We go to crib services, Palm Sunday processions. We do go to Gloucester Cathedral. We also have donkey shows. We go to charity football. We've actually been to weddings. We've been asked to go to weddings. We've taken part in films and all sorts of other things. On the Maybank holiday this year, we've got a country show. It's only £5 to come in. It's the only time we ask you to pay to come into the sanctuary. The rest of the year you can come free. This year we've got Irish dancers, we've got the belly dancers, got Mr. Muddle, you know, making these balloons and flowers and goodness knows what, and doing magic things. We've got lots and lots of craft things going on. We've got lots of stalls. We've got dog agility and all that, and a dog show, and all that's on 2 days, on for 2 days. So do come along if you want to for the bank holiday. This is Midge. Now a lot of people say, where did you get all these donkeys from? Well, it's very difficult to say because you don't actually get them from anywhere. They appear. And Midge was in a field on her own near Gatwick Airport. Now, when I talked about the close bond between donkeys, for this donkey to be left in a field on her own was absolutely awful. As you can see, she's standing there, she got out of the box, and she's standing there with her head down. You can see her shoes are all overgrown, her coat looks awful, she's very thin, she's got a huge belly on her, which probably is worms, and she was covered in lice, and she also had 2 enormous sores on her buttocks. She was a sorry sight. And now you would never recognise her, so there we are. I tell you, she's happy, she's got a friend. So there is a donkey show. We have a donkey show where people bring their own donkeys. And that's on the first Sunday in July. So that's another lovely event, and that's free. You can come into that and just spend the day watching people showing their donkeys. And as you can see, they come very smartly dressed. Now, every year we have a carol service, and Reverend Janice Chilton, vicar of Brightwell-cum-Sotwell, and Polly Ann there greeting her public. She always comes into the carol service. Polly Ann's big friend is called Tracy, and Tracy and she do a lot of things together, you know. Picture of that's the lady vicar. I love that palm she was waving around. And here is Linda, and there is John. There's John and Linda, and our own donkeys. They are always asked. It's called Donkeys in the Bible. So you go from the Nativity to the crucifixion in an hour. Yes, but it's very cleverly done, and it's very meaningful, I think, to the audience of young people and children. And it's nice for us to be able to go along and take part in that sort of thing as well. And I think that was the Palm for Palm Sunday. I'm sure she was reading something about that. Now, this next little group of slides are my prize for myself. I went down there, I was rung up, Bryony was in, and she was in about, I think about a year before she had the foal, on 19th of April, and that was 2013. They rang me up and said, "It's a boy," you see. So I said, "Oh, wonderful, I'll come down in the morning." So I went down in the morning, and there was Bryony with this little thing here. It was less than a day old. But look at its great big ears. I don't like it. It's enormous. And I feel so privileged to be able to show these photographs. Now this is another, you can see the scale of it. You see, you've got the little thing down there. And there's Bryony. Now, Bryony is going towards the little donkey, who's called Viscount. Now, just watch what happens. Now she goes now, and she puts her nose underneath his bottom, and she's trying to get him up. And she does get him up. And look at his little tiny donkey there. And she's moving him round because he needs to feed. And for me, I think this is a lovely little set of photographs. It's hard work running a sanctuary, as you can well imagine, but there are a huge number of rewards. John had taken out the little one. He's just put it, they're just going back into this little stable. There's Bryony, and John has got the little one. He's got a scarf, because he didn't want to put rope around its neck, it's too young. And they'd just taken it for a little walk out with its mother. But look at the other donkeys. They all came running up to see the little one. I think this is Jennifer. We were rung up one day by somebody, a dealer, who buys and sells donkeys. And I mean, you can see a poor little thing, really. It's about 6 months old. John said, "Well, all right, I'll go up and pick her up." But in order to pick her up, he took another donkey with him, called Maya. And Maya had had a donkey about 2 years previously, so she knew about, children, in quotes. She knew about foals. She knew about the young. So anyway, in the end, he took Maya up. And Maya must have wondered why on earth she was going on her own, but still she went. And when he got there, he introduced Maya to the little one, and then and talked to the man for an hour, had a bit of lunch, and then Maya led this little one into the box. So there was no worry for the little one. She felt quite safe going into the box with another donkey. And in fact, I think she has the one that had a leaking heart. And so we had to do a lot of work to bring her back to as best a condition as we could. And Maya never left her. And in fact, Maya got quite cross, if we took her out and not the little one, or the other way round. So anyway, at the end of the day, there you are. The story is good. A lady rang in that we know very well and said that she decided she would like a couple of donkeys. She's super housing for them. Very nice person, good understanding of donkeys. And so John said, "Well, would you be prepared to take Maya and this little one?" And she said, "Well, yes." So they've both gone now to a very nice home. So they're both fostered out. Oh, there's just some donkeys in the fields, which I quite like. After some of the lives that they've led, to see them just doing that is wonderful for them. There's Polly Ann. That's some of her friends there. She's got a collar on because we have a system of adoptions for donkeys. You can adopt a donkey, and there's a leaflet here, and there's different donkeys have different coloured collars. So people come to us and say, "Where is Chocolate?" Well, so you say the one with the whatever colour, I think it's a red collar or something. Jack's got a red collar. But anyway, we could give them a leaflet and they can go and find them. Yes. Oh yes, we're running also donkey care courses. So these are for people who want to come and be a volunteer at the sanctuary or just know more about donkeys. And it's a day course. from about 11 in the morning till about 3 in the afternoon. In the morning they talk about the history of the donkey and ailments and food, what you have to do and what you can't do and all the rest of it, behaviour patterns, and also pasture as well. And then in the afternoon they have a lunch break, and in the afternoon, as you see, they learn how to pick out hooves and also to do grooming and put a head collar on and all that sort of business. We always like our staff to do stage 1 course. And there they are in the bottom photograph in the boardroom having their instruction. The instructor is Claire, who you can see there, Claire Strang. She has 16 donkeys of her own, and she's had them ever since she was young. She's always loved donkeys. She's a judge with the Donkey Breed Society as well, and she's also in charge of the young persons section of the Donkey Breed Society. So there's not much Claire doesn't know about a donkey. And we award them a certificate afterwards, so you can see they've all got their certificates there. Well, there's the book Pollyann. You can get it from the Sanctuary. They are on sale down there. We were approached by Little Brown Book Company. They were very good, and they said that because Pollyann was appearing at the Royal Opera House, the lady who was commissioning editor was looking for a book for Christmas, a sort of touchy-feely animal book for Christmas. And somebody said to her, well, what about that donkey that comes to the Royal Opera House, you see? So they got in touch with us, and that's been very good contact as well. And there is the tea room. That looks a bit classroomy. That's when we first had it. But it's quite good. I mean, we never buy anything if we can help it. The chairs were given to us by a pub, and the tables were given to us by somebody at the classroom, you see. So, and in fact, the building was an old classroom. It's very nice in there, and we had to spend a couple of thousand on it once we got it, you know, reordering it and putting some carpet in and putting some shelving up, and we made a kitchen. We've now got a children's corner, so young children can go and play there if they want to, and there's lots of toys for them to play with. And we've got a large screen television telling the story of the sanctuary, and pictures like you know, several pictures like these as well. So, yes, now that's Daffy. Daffy just wanders around. But I caught that picture. Donkeys playing. They were picking up that water container and throwing it around, and I couldn't believe that I actually got that photograph. But there you go. So there we are. Donkeys actually play too, which is very nice. And they do sometimes in the fields. You know, if John throws them a football, they'll sometimes kick it. So there we are. I think this is about the end. As I said, we don't have an admission fee. We don't charge for car parking either. You can visit any day from 11 a.m. until 4 p.m. You can adopt a donkey as a present, which is very nice. You get a lot of people who come down to see their adopted donkey. There's some adoption forms on the table. Or you can hold an event for us if you want, bring them by or whatever. And you can visit our website. So I think that probably is going to be the end. Has anybody got any questions?
How many performances does the donkey do?
At the Royal Opera House. Well, I have to cover all of them. It's about a month or so, it's a couple of months I think. And also there's a lady from the Animal Performing Rights or something. It's an organisation that monitors and engages animals for shows and things like that. And she is always there with us.
What is the oldest?
The oldest donkey that we've got now. Well, the oldest donkey we've ever had, I think, has been 52 or 51. Of course, I said they last for donkey's years. So, the oldest one we've got now, I think, is about 45, that sort of age.
Are all the new donkeys that you take on, are they all neglected?
We don't take a donkey that doesn't really need to be with us, let's put it that way. It's not, it's quite difficult sometimes to answer that question fully.
Do you have thoroughbred donkeys?
Thoroughbred?
Are there such things as thoroughbred?
We have got a couple of Andalusians, and they're very big. They're called Mrs. P and something else, I can't remember the other one. I've never seen such a huge number of different donkeys as I have at Island Farm. And if you go to other donkey sanctuaries, you'll see the same.
When you're saying about refreshment shop and things,
Yes.
That isn't open in the week at all.
Yes,
Only-
it's open at school holidays and
Only
weekends.
school holidays and weekends, not
Yes,
all.
yes.
Thank you, yes.
Yes,
Very
we've learned
interesting.
so.